Hello everyone in the chess world. Today I'm following my series on crazy unusual openings. Today one that it's actually much more known than the rest that I've been showing you. This is the Blumenfeld Gambit. I'll give you the main possession. b5. You'll see how this is in somehow a cousin of the Benko Gambit. So, well, I'm showing you this as you can see from the white side. So, on the one hand, I'm going to really recommend this opening for black. I think it's really cool opening. You're always really close to equalizing or even getting great advantages. On the other hand, well, as usual, I'm going to be revealing my own prep because I do play this move order with white, so I face this quite often. So I'll show you a way to get at least a small advantage. So, but again, it's one of the most interesting openings I've ever seen, and one in which normally when both sides play correct, you know, it's always unclear. You get to move 20 something with maybe white is always preferable, but black is so close to equalizing. So really interesting. So first I'll show you, well, the main line, and the one that I'm going to recommend is bishop g5. In such a move, such a position, I don't think bishop g5 will be the first move we look at. So first, a little really short explanation of all the rest of the variations that maybe led the theoreticians to say, okay, bishop g5 is probably better. So first of all, if we were to take the pawn, this is not like a Volga. You're not going to play a6, although you could. I mean, you could, if you really like a Benko addict or something, you could do this. But, I mean, main idea is now e takes d5. Black just has this very big center. I mean, I don't know, this already looks quite satisfying for black. So, and then, for example, knight c3 is an interesting attempt because, well, now if black plays b takes e4, well, maybe we'll play e4 at the same time that we're solidifying that d5 pawn. We just want to recapture like this, and this is true. This is playable actually for black, but after knight c3 we could also play a6. Now, it's interesting, right? Keeping the tension, but we already gain the space on the queen side with black. Maybe we'll flirting always with the idea of b4. Again, looks already looks quite good for black. I like this thing about this Blumenfeld Gambit as well. I'll show you a lot of moves, and I don't have to show you more than one or two more moves for you to understand that black is trying to get in somewhere, right? D takes e6 is classical, but after f takes e6, the idea for black will again always to have the big center. If we take it, g5 and the big center. Again, I'm not putting judgment or evaluation in these lines, but you can see that strategically and in general, black always look like they have a good idea. There even exists a lot of white players have been trying this gambit e4. Interesting, but after knight takes e4, bishop d3, knight on f6. Well, I think castles was the most played move. I'm not sure. There are some open lines, maybe this e-file, this diagonal in some lines, but we've given up a central pawn. And if instead we go, well, again, the same story, d takes e6, f takes e6, and c takes b does recover the pawn, but d5 with the big center. So in general terms, because of all of these variations, theoreticians came up with bishop on g5. So this is the move that I played and I will recommend. So you'll see that in all lines we'll get something for white, but I'll be honest, the main line e takes d5 to me is one of really forcing line, almost equalizing for black. Let us first check the two alternatives, which will be h6 and b takes e4. Let us start here with b takes e4. Against that move, knight on c3 will be the move. Remember that it's not like we're going to play e3 to recover the pawn or anything. We'll always have this pressure on the center. So first we got to be ready to answer e takes e5 with knight takes e5. So g6, logical continuation. After e4, e5, this happens a lot. They close the center, and after bishop takes e4, well, black contempts to having a solid position, and this bishop on c4, they're thinking we'll play like this and make him lose a tempo. So we can, well, bishop on e7, logical continuation, normal development, castles. Here, maybe not a typical Benoni-like move, but not necessarily easy to decide that it is the best here. You can just play knight on d2 and knight bd7, the most logical. Here we go back with the bishop. When they kick our bishop out, we go back. Of course, now we have possibilities of knight c4, f4. It's a small advantage for white. This is playable for black. I like this for white. There's not much of a problem. But The other alternative, h6, decent move, but you can get more into trouble here with black. You gotta be careful, because after capturing, and, well, this was forced, right? Again, we have to take it. Knight on c3, and here we have to recommend b4 immediately for black, because trying to, well, taking b takes e4, you know, always the same story. With e4, we protect the center, we assure that we will recover the pawn. And maybe we'll look at this e5. One detail, you do have the option of playing e3 more solid here. This is another thing that I like. And because it's a totally an other ball game, right? So I like that, being flexible, having options, and you're the one to decide. You could, I think even the engines were thinking that they're almost one as good as the other. Because, yeah, again, this e4, aggressive in trying for e5, but remember, pawns are the only pieces of chess that cannot go back. So e3 more solid, then we'll play bishop takes e4 is fine. So, well, and trying to hold in the pawn chain with a6, well, again, maybe you're e4 with the same idea, and now, again, you're not in time to play b4 because of e5, and now we vacated this e4 square, so, you know, queen d8, knight on e4, my cats are playing all over the place. This should be a clear advantage now for white, really successful. So, going back, we'll recommend b4 immediately, and knight on b5, which, since we're threatening this check-in here, and you cannot protect it with the bishop, knight on a6 is the natural move. e4, and since we are trying to play e5, and black doesn't want to play d6 yet, I mean, in that case, we could take it here, and we'll be hitting this with the queen, we'll force the queen to recapture to protect. It's getting kind of a little dirty in black's position. So e5 is a natural response, solid and holding, you know, just not allowing e5 for white. a3, we can start putting pressure immediately. You know, our idea is to take here. They won't be able to recapture with the knight because of the double check. And if after, well, the idea is we'll take here. If they take with the pawn, we can always play rook takes x6 followed by knight checks. Well, now the queen is protecting this piece, but remember, we can still always take the rook, so always with threat. So bishop on d6, this snake bishop is, well, recommended. Now if we take on b4, they can just recapture it with the knight, and this check is protected. But we can follow with normal development, bishop e2, castles, bishop on b7, and now we have a little surprise for black. We have this knight on h4 exclam move, because the queen has the responsibility of defending this bishop, so she cannot go so freely to take there. And of course we want to play this and have total domination, so g6 should be the answer, but now we can just exchange there, play queen d2, hitting the pawn on h6, and after king g7 just lash out with f4, and now we have attack. We've justified the position of the bishop, of the knight on h4. This is starting to look really good for us. So, but the last but not the least, I said that against this main line, I think e takes d5 is the best move, and I said we'll get a line that is quite forced. I mean, I played this a lot of times on the internet, and again, white is always preferable, but black is really close, you know, to equality. So, c takes d5, obviously, and now d6, e4, I'm sorry, e4 first, hitting the b5 pawn, so now a6 logical, and now a4, putting pressure on there. But black doesn't need to play b4, which will be cool for us, right? I mean, we could always start by this. We have this c4 square for the knight, then maybe 3 or not, we can leave it right here. It starts to look strategically good, but bishop on e7 is a strong move, because, I mean, the idea is now, if we take here, they'll just play knight takes on e7, and knight takes on e4, which is an uncomfortable move to me, right? I mean, if we were to take the bishop, they'll recapture with the queen, and kind of toasted now. So that is why after this bishop on e7, the main move is to, well, just kill that knight. After bishop takes on f6, we do win this pawn on b5. But bishop takes b2. And after rook on a2, they'll just go back with bishop on f6. And look at this position. I mean, this is not a bad deal for black, right? Let us keep it going, just normal development. Bishop d3, castles. Bishop b7. Again, a good development move for black, and protecting the rook on a8. So maybe now they can, if they want someday, play a takes b5. So, well, natural development knight b2, but again, it's all theoretical. Just taking right there on b5 is correct, because after bishop takes on b5, just the normal knight d7 development move. And here, there are options. You could play rook e1, or you can play some stuff. I'll recommend the queen a4, one of the preferred moves by the engines. Well, the idea is that we're hitting the knight, and after knight on b6, at least we have queen on a5 pinning. That, well, pinning, I mean, the queen is protected, but maybe black wouldn't want an exchange right now. I don't know. It's clear that white is still preferable, but black has the pair of bishops, and what can I say? Black cannot complain about this position on move 18 out of the opening. So again, it's what can I say? It's again, this is what I recommend for white against this, but I think that Blumenfeld Gambit, you saw all the little ideas that we had on the opening, so it's quite a cool opening for black. I don't know what it is. It isn't playing more often, so well, I hope you like this, and I hope you played with both colors. So as usual, Citroneta is going to ask you to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like the video. So thanks a lot for watching. I will see you next time.